well, the government is taking this very, very seriously. In fact, there's a new agency, a whole new agency that's been formed, but I guess
Well, we should explain, though, that a few months back, the Pentagon released its first ever UFO report where they basically say there were about 150 objects in the air that they could not identify, and that they defy explanation, like this one. And so that was a big deal. For the first time, the government acknowledged that there are things they can't really understand.
But clearly, there were people in the government who were not happy with the way, with something about, I would think, about that study and what came out, because they've scrapped the new agency that they formed just last year to create a new one now. And this one is called, and I'm going to look because it's a long name, the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group.
Okay, so this is a new agency, and a lot of people, some people are saying, wow, this is fantastic. The government's really taking this seriously now, and that this is a big step forward. Not everybody believes that, and they think this may be a little bit underhanded.
Yes.
So we want to get to the truth in this, and one of my favorite people, actually, that I've worked with over the years is Jeremy Corbelle, who is an investigative journalist and UFO expert who we featured on our UFO special that, by the way, is now available on Tubi. But we want to bring Jeremy in to talk about this agency. So, Jeremy, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Harvey.
So what do you think about this?
Really, what this announcement is a weaponized attempt to undercut the congressional support for the UFO or UAP legislation and the amendment that was just put forward from the National Defense Authorization Act. So this is a power grab by the Pentagon, and it was a sneak attack. You know, there's been this cone of silence for over 80 years, and this Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, which is where this new program was just named from, is the same organization that tried to kill the UAP efforts for all these years. They've constantly lied about it to the American public, and they have, you know, persecuted witnesses. They encourage classification for this stuff that is over the top. And honestly, they're only looking at incursions in special use areas. This is not what we have been fighting for.
And this appears to be a reaction to the DNI report. And why take it away from that? Because the previous agency was a naval agency, right? So now it seems like they're broadening this?
So no, what's happening is, you know, that the UAPTF, the UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, that was put into place because of public interest, because of public pressure. And so what's happened now is there's been all these amendments put forward by senators saying, hey, we want to know the truth about UFOs. We want updates every 6 months. We want it to be unclassified. We want to look at the negative health things that have happened to people who've been close to UAPs. We want to know about if we have crash retrievals. Are we reverse engineering these? All of this was in those amendments. All of a sudden, the Pentagon swoops in an agency that has always lied to the American public about this and says, oh, nothing to see here, don't worry, we've got this under control now. I am highly suspicious that we're going to get any kind of transparency. In my perspective, it's high noon. It's time for the truth about UFOs to be officially acknowledged. And we're not going down without a fight. UFO Twitter unite.
Let me try a theory on you. So when we were working on this UFO special, it was very clear, at least to me, that there has been a sea change in Congress, especially in the Senate. And you've got people like Marco Rubio, former Senator Harry Reid, and others who now are really taking this seriously and want an agency to seriously look at it. If you're right that this is a power grab by the Pentagon, which has never told the truth about UFOs, maybe that will bring everything to a head, and these senators are going to call them on the carpet, still establish an agency, but kind of expose this kind of cover-up that's been going on for so long.
You're right, Harvey. Maybe just the act itself of fighting against this transparency is going to further create transparency. Just look how far we've gotten. You know, where this used to be a taboo and it was belittled and it was just shoved under the carpet and nobody could talk about this who are serious people. Now we have scientists, we have physicists. This is in pop culture, pop media. We have senators fighting for our right to know more, unclassified, about the UFO presence on planet Earth, whatever it is. And I'm not saying I know what it is, but it is a mystery, and we got to look at it. And to quote one of the senators, we can't just put our heads in the sand and pretend it doesn't exist. So, yeah, I'm highly encouraged, Harvey. As always, it's an exciting time for the UFO subject because UFOs are real. And if you don't know that, you've been told by your own government and you just haven't been paying attention. So now it is time to recognize what is actually going on and try to analyze it.
Jeremy Corbelle speaks the truth. He just does.